customs or traditions. Sometimes, especially when covering the 16th century, when so many significant intellectual developments took place, I must follow one of these subjects for 100 years or so and then double back chronologically to pick up the story of the next one. None of these topics and traditions existed in a watertight compartment, of course, and some writers, such as Jean Baudin, feature in my accounts of more than one of them. A certain amount of referring back and referring forwards is unavoidable, therefore. But I am certain that the alternative, a single onward-moving account of everything in mere chronological order, would have been much less helpful to the listener. The title of the book requires a little elaboration on several points. First, the word enemies. I seriously hesitated over using this term, as I did not and do not want to give the impression that enmity was the only essential relationship between the Ottoman and Islamic worlds and the West European Christian one. As my previous book, Agents of Empire, makes clear, the spectrum of interactions between the two did include various kinds of positive collaboration and cooperation in the early modern period. But the subject matter of this book is not the entire historical reality of relations between them, but rather the mental world of those in the West who wrote in a political way about the East. A degree of enmity was built into the assumptions of the overwhelming majority of them, and even when writers praised Islam or the Ottoman system, as a significant number of them did, they could assume that this would have all the more impact as part of a critical argument about their own society, precisely because Western listeners took them to be praising an inimical religion and an enemy state. Secondly, the dates used in the title have been chosen merely as round figures. For practical purposes, 1450 is a proxy for 1453, the year of the Ottoman conquest of Constantinople, and 1750 is close enough to 1748, the date of publication of Montesquieu's De l'Esprit des Lois, a work which took the long-standing tradition of theorizing about Ottoman despotism, developed it further, and, by means of the reactions which Montesquieu provoked to his most extreme claims, helped to bring about its end. Thirdly, Western is used here primarily in contradistinction to the Ottoman world, and more specifically to refer to Western Christendom. Writings by Orthodox Slavs and Orthodox Greeks are not considered here. Some of the former and most of the latter were, in any case, living under Ottoman rule. And while Western political thought was certainly no monolithic entity, my focus has to be mostly on tendencies in the overall development of political thinking in Western culture. This is not a history of everything that was thought in political terms about Islam and the Ottomans by anyone living in the West. The Ottoman history written in Hebrew by the 16th century Rabbi Elia Kapsali, for example, is a text of great intrinsic interest, written in a territory which can be described as Western, the island of Crete under Venetian rule. But that work, like some other little-known Hebrew texts, played no role in the development of Western thought more generally, so it is not discussed here. Fourthly, I should emphasize that the phrase political thought in the title has been deliberately chosen in preference to political philosophy or political theory. The ideas of several major theorists and philosophers are discussed in this book, but its scope is not confined to any canon of abstract theoretical works. Many different sorts of material contributed to the development of political thought in a broader sense: descriptive writings by travellers, speeches by diplomats, polemical pamphlets, millenarian treatises, and so on. Although my coverage of them cannot be systematic, I have tried to do justice to the range of forms in which political thinking about, or in relation to, Islam and the Ottoman Empire took place in the culture of early modern Europe. Yet I must immediately add, again emphatically, that this is only a history of political thought, broadly conceived, not a general cultural history of Western Europe's experience of the Ottoman and Islamic worlds. This point is also relevant to the choice of source materials. Playwrights, for example, may often have reflected cultural assumptions about the Turk in interesting ways, but that is not the same as making original contributions to Western political thought. To discuss all the ways in which early modern Europe absorbed and reacted to Islam and the Ottoman Empire would require a book of much greater length and of a much